When you get to World 2, you unlock this new feature. And that feature is part of the Divine Crafter, and it's called Souls. So souls are something you can use to basically completely crack out your units. So today we're going to be doing the official souls tier list. You guys know which souls you should get. All right, if you guys don't know, there is a ton of souls, and there's even evolutions as well. So you can kind of see what they cost, etc. So some of them, after the update, cost quite a bit nowadays, like a lot of essence and stuff. Back before the update, it didn't cost any essence. So let's go over the best souls for each unit. All right, first up, guys, we have the best farm souls. Now, the worst farm soul is the idle soul, but the idle soul also has another fringe benefit, which I will show you right now. So if we go over here to idle soul, you're gonna see it does minus total cost and range. Now, the thing is, if you upgrade the soul using these soul candies, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how down bad I was for soul candy. Yikes, if anybody has some, send some. Oh my goodness. You can get it to unlock this other thing, and it will also increase this. So it gets pretty good. So after the idle soul, the next best one is the business Yojin soul, and that is because it gives you +1 cash. And it only costs you 30 cosmic essence, which is actually quite expensive if you do the math. That's like the equivalent of like 150 essence. It's pretty expensive. But back in the day, it used to just cost the businessman Yojin, which is basically free. So if you combine those two together, you get the Soul of Prosperous Wishes, which when maxed out, these are its stats: plus 10% cash, minus 4% cost, and plus 8% range, which is very, very good. And honestly, it's not a bad soul even on a non-money unit, but it is the best money unit soul. So next up, we got the best supports, and you're going to see there's some duplicates here. So let's start it off with the worst one, and that is the GURP Cannon Soul. I don't currently have it because I need more essence, but these other things are fairly easy to get. I already have 6, and I only need 1 more donut. So this one increases boss damage, which might be useful, but it also increases range. So that's kind of why it's in the support list. All right, next up, we have the Sun Jin Woo Winter Soul. All right, this one also buffs range as well, which is good for support units. Next up, we have the Fused Warrior Soul, and you guys guessed it, it gives range and SPA, so not too bad at all. If you guys don't know, you want to have your Gojo have the most range as possible, so that's kind of why we're rocking out with it. So look at that, already up to 5.2% range. Yeah, that's very useful for that guy. All right, next up we have the Idle Soul, which we already shown, so you guys can kind of see it gives you more range and also reduces cost, which is very useful for your support units. All right, next up we have the situational ones. So this is just pretty much every single orb, so I'm just going to skip this tier. But a lot of these orbs are good depending on what situation you have them in, so keep that in mind. But we'll go over most of these later on in the list. All right, next up, we kind of went through most of all these. So these are kind of just like the mid ones. So like these kind of work on your DPS units, like, but you know, you kind of want to upgrade to other ones. So a lot of these are giving like range or an SPA, etc. So these are all okay, but there's definitely better ones out there. So keep that in mind. I don't think I showed the Mad Tough one off. That one gives you mini boss damage, which is kind of useful in portals because there's mini bosses that do a lot. But overall, it's kind of mid. But some of them are pretty decent. Like I like the Fused Warrior one because it gives you range and SPA, which is actually pretty freaking sweet. So that one's actually surprisingly OP. All right, here we go, guys. We got the good and the bad. Also, guys, notice there is a Godly Soul, which we'll go over in a second. So the worst of the DPS ones is the Jester Blood Rage Soul. This one's kind of hard to get because you got to get a Jester hat. It gives you 2 dismantle damage. Honestly, there's better souls than this, which I'll show you in a second. I believe the better one is the Soul of Inner Potential. No, it's the which one is it? Oh my gosh, there was one, but that's better. Oh yeah, it's the Soul of Blood. So the Soul of Blood is basically you fuse that into the Soul of Blood. So that's why the Soul of Blood is better. All right, next up we got the Beast King Soul, which is pretty okay. It gives you dark damage. So honestly, look at how much it gives you guys. Plus 2.1% just for one of these. That's such a good deal. All right, next up we have the Flame Breather Soul. This one is the only one that gives you burn damage. I still need to get it, so I'll probably grind for this soon, but burn damage is really good for quite a bit of units, and I'm assuming he's going to get pretty OP. All right, next up we have the Strongest Sorcerer Unmasked Soul. So this one gives you plus 4% damage and minus 1% SPA, which is actually very useful. So this one is quite the strong one, but I don't have the Light Essence, but I will get another one of these copies. I already used it to fuse. Back in the day, all it cost was a Gojo, which was insane, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm gonna get another copy soon. And then next up, you have the Black Swordsman Soul, which you need to get. I think it's like the Soul of Inner Potential. This one gives you more bleed damage, and it also gives you straight up damage. However, it requires quite a bit, but honestly, the Dark Essence isn't too bad, so you'll probably be able to get it fairly easily. And then next up, we have the Baldy Serious Soul. This one's very easy to get. I would get another copy, but I don't have the Nature Essence right now, and I need it for Toto. So 2% damage, which isn't too bad. That's kind of why it's up on the list. Just because it just gives you straight damage, so it works on like every unit. And there's some units the other ones don't really work for. All right, then we got the Soul of Blood. So this one gives you dark damage, dismantle damage, and bleed damage. So this is kind of like the Sukuna orb, the Sukuna soul. So very, very good. Soul of Inner Potential is also very good. This is the Guts one. So 17.5% hemorrhage damage and increases the SPA and the damage. Busted OP. All right, and then lastly, the best in the game is the Soul of Brute Force. 15% damage. So that works on every single unit. It also gives you boss damage and mini boss damage, which is very, very helpful. So there you go, guys. That's the official best Soul tier list. Big shout out to Nori and all of the tier list crew for cooking this up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.